All right. All right, you guys, good morning. It is exactly 9 a.m. Here on Tuesday. First and foremost, I want to apologize for last week's call. I don't know if you guys know how these calls came about, but, I became the director of a leadership program for USC, and a couple of people were saying, well, hey, would you mind teaching us the leadership stuff that you're going to be teaching these executive women? Would you mind sharing that with us? And so that's how these calls came about. We thought we would test it out for 6 weeks, see what the response would be, and so forth, right? So last week was actually the program started. It was Monday through Thursday, and my bad, I totally forgot to communicate to you guys the week before that to let you know that we were not going to have a call last week because I was going to be in class like from 7 a.m. to like 9 p.m. So first of all and foremost, right, a good leader always acknowledges their mistakes, so I apologize for that. And so today would be technically our sixth call. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to set this call up a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and do the class today. It's about why leaders resist change, and I think it's going to be really great because it's going to be connected to a lot of the leadership stuff that Susan Peterson talked about at Extravaganza in Vegas or here in Los Angeles. So it's going to be really fantastic because while she was doing the class, I don't know about you guys, and I want to hear from you at the end of this call. How was it to hear her points of the qualities of a leader and so I just thought, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. That's what we've been talking about for the last 6 weeks. But anyhow, so my apologies for that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go through the call. Today's topic, I promised I was going to share with you guys why leaders resist change. Like, what is it about, not just leaders, why people resist change? And as we know, as they always say, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. But what is it about people, right, in general, that we kind of have a little bit of a pushback on that? So you want to take this piece of paper and a pencil. You want to go ahead and grab some notes. We're going to get started on this, okay? So first of all, as we have mentioned in every call, everything rises and falls on leadership. That is where everything starts, okay? Now, to create positive change, it's one of those things that it's like creating or changing those habits that we've been having. Like, for example, I'm 35 years old, so there are things that I have been doing for the last 35 years, right? Or maybe some things, an idea, a habit that I've gotten for the last 20 plus years. So all of a sudden, and next week I'm going to share with you guys. I went to go see the Dalai Lama in Mexico, and next week I'm going to share with you some principles that the Dalai Lama shared. And one of the things is that so many times we create this reality of whatever it is that we feel that it to be true. And that becomes like it becomes our identity. It becomes like how we relate to ourselves. So really, many leaders resist change just as everybody else, okay? But one of the differences is, when you're leading a group of people, an unchanged leader is an unchanged organization. And I really want you to key in on that. An unchanged leader is an unchanged organization. Whether it's an organization with your family, your clients, or your distributors, whatever that organization means, it just means a group of people. So if you want to start seeing a shift in your clients, a shift in your distributors, a shift with your team, a shift with your family, it starts with you. You as a leader must start changing. Now, when change is needed, the first order of things to change that is needed to be you, the leader. And until the leader understands, and one of the main reasons why the leader has to go first is because until the leader understands how challenging it is to change for himself, then he or she will not understand how to try to change others. What I mean by that is this. Let's say, it's like everything, right? Let's just say something as simple as our products. If you don't take the products first and you don't actually experience something, it's really going to be challenging for you to guide somebody on how to take them. But if you take them first, then okay, you know what? Ooh, I put way too much water in that shake. Therefore, it tastes too watery. When a client comes to you and goes, man, that shake was way too runny. bam, you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? How much water did you put? You know what? That happened to me, and this is what I did. But that's something tangible, right? Like outside of you, like something that you can actually see, feel, and smell. But when something is eternal, like a change within you, okay, as a leader, if you start changing within yourself and you start noticing how challenging it is to change your habits, something as simple as making your bed every day, as we all have, decided to take on that habit, or whatever habit you decide to take on, whatever that is, when you start noticing how challenging it is for you to start following through and for you to change those untangible things you cannot touch, feel, and smell, things that you can only like feel within you, when you start understanding that, all of a sudden you have a client that's having a difficult time, you're going to start having more empathy, more patience towards that client or towards that distributor, because you have gone through it yourself, and now you understand the challenges and the hurdles that it is to change. Otherwise, when you don't have that, you're like, what is wrong with you? Why are you not changing? Why are you not disciplined? Da, 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 da. And then all of a sudden you start scolding and like lecturing people because you don't come from a place of understanding. So that's why it's so important that as a leader, we're constantly evolving. And more importantly, we're noticing what we feel as we're evolving, what's going through our mind. And that becomes, not that you need to like allow people to have a pity party or cry on your shoulders, but you become a better leader because you can have empathy for your team, okay? That's super, super important, and that's part of what the Dalai Lama had talked about, which I will share with you guys next week. But anyhow, so once a leader has personally changed and understands the difference between the novel changes and the changes needed that the leader the novel changes and changes that are absolutely needed to be changed, then you become a change agent, okay? And this is really important because in this world of rapid change, the leader must be out in front to encourage and change and grow, and more importantly, to show the way to bring this change about to its team, okay? Now, you got to understand that there are two requirements, that there are two things that are needed to bring about change. Number one is knowing the technical requirements of the change and understanding the demands the demands with it. So the technical requirements of change are one of them. Like, for example, let's say you want to start, you want to lose weight, right? And so the technical requirements of losing weight would be 2 shakes, 1 meal, cut back your calories, as far as like bad foods, increase your water intake, exercise. So you've got these technical things that you must do in order to see change, okay? Now, number 2 is the motivational factor. Okay, so now here's the thing: when there is a failing or you're not being successful of bringing about change, it's not because of lack of technical intelligence. Okay, it's not like if you have a client or if you have a distributor, if you have anybody in your life that you're working with them and you share with them and they're not changing or they're not causing themselves any kind of results, it is not because they don't understand the technical things that they need to do to change. That's not, most of the time, that's not the case. Now, there could be a situation where you tell somebody, hey, look, the moment, like, for example, Chase would be so proud, I have to be conscious, like, no, the shake before the tea, right, here at home. So, those are things that, you've got to put in. It's not because of a lack of intelligence, but really the reason why people don't cause themselves to change or don't cause themselves to have alterations in their life is because of the second factor, and that's the motivational piece, okay? Now, here's the thing. Like, let's say a regular company or, like a regular employment, you've got these managers, that are telling you what to do, how to do it, and all that. So lots of times, us distributors, we could become type of managers to our team or to our clients because we're just telling them what to do, like, okay, 2 shakes, 1 meal, lots of water, 2 snacks, okay, you want to exercise, okay, you want to go to the HOM, and you're just like telling them what to do. That is like a managerial kind of way of being, okay? Now, a leader, it's more of understanding the attitude and the motivational demands that the followers are needed. And one of the things perhaps very soon here, and even next week, there are human needs that every human being has. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're from, if you're a woman or you're a man. As a human being, there are certain needs that we must have. Now, here's the thing, you guys. How you satisfy those needs varies from person to person. But let's say, there's these, let's just say, for example, one of the human needs is to be recognized, okay? So if you can how can I say this? If you can identify with your guys, with your girls, like whether it's your clients or your distributors, whoever it is, if you can identify what human need he or she is missing and you can tap into it, you can cause that person in action. This is really fantastic, okay? This is one of the things I learned at my academy, and that is that when you can see, okay, you know what, this person, they're really lacking recognition. Now, how would you know, right? There's like 6 human needs, like the human need of being significant, and you can, Anthony Robbins talks about this all the time, is like the need of being significant, of being loved, of connection, of, oh God, I'm drawing a blank. But anyhow, the ones that everybody, no matter what, the top that and everybody needs is this feeling of like loved and significance, but belonging, connection. As human beings, we must have that. So you can always play on that, and you can never get wrong. That's why it's so important to recognize people. That's why it's so important to acknowledge their goals and their triumphs. Okay, so if you can identify that, you can tell them, hey, yeah, 2 shakes, 1 meal, hey, the HOM, whatever the case may be. But if you can connect some type of motivational factor, some type of human need to it, you can cause that person to change. So let me give you an example. Let's say, right, like, so you're talking to one of your girls and you're promoting the HOM, and all of a sudden you're like telling them, hey, the HOM is on Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever day you have it, right? I'll see you there. You're just giving them the technical aspects of this, hey, if you go to this HOM, your life can change. But if you can connect something to it, for example, let's say this person is like, I don't know, they want to, Christmas is coming about. They share with you how, every Christmas they don't ever get presents for their family, their friends, whatever the case may be, whatever motivational factor that they have. If you can connect that motivation to them going to the HOM, the probability of them actually showing up is a lot greater because they understand, oh, if I go to this HOM, I'm going to learn the skills and the blah, 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 and I'm going to be able to take that to be able to get what I want. So it's so important that you just don't tell people, oh, the STS is on Saturday, oh, this and that, but you actually connect something emotional, whether it's, I would really, if you let's say if you want to play on the role of love, right? You can, you're the kind of person that just brings sunshine or brings light into a room, and it would be so wonderful if you can come with us to the STS so that you can share your testimonial with so many people and make a difference for other people's lives. See, right there, that person feels needed, feels wanted, feels loved, feels appreciated. So whatever, now don't be fake about it, okay? Don't be telling people something that's not true, because that also, people can sense BS, okay? You got to be authentic. You got to be real. But so many times we have these thoughts about a certain person or about a certain thing. We just don't express them. So it's certainly very important that you do that. So number 2 is the motivational factor, and that is connecting that motivation with the technical aspect, okay? So no change will ever occur if the psychological needs are not met. I'm going to say that again. No change will ever occur if the psychological needs are not met, okay? So once the change has begun, the skills and all that to maintain that change will then be needed, the technical skills and all that stuff. So this is so important even for yourself. How many of us want things to change and we just can't get ourselves to go about it? That's because your psychological needs are not met. But the moment you can connect, attach, commit to a psychological need, for example, waking up in the morning to going to the gym, is going to help me, feel more vibrant and more energetic. It's not just about, I got to wake up and go to the gym. But if you connect something amazing to it, maybe have a picture of how you want to look, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and all of a sudden you look at this picture, now you've got psychological, needs. I'm going to look amazing. I'm going to feel amazing. I'm going to feel love, connection, whatever the case may be for you. Bam, now the technical part of it is like a slam dunk. Okay, so I'm going to say this again. No change will ever occur if the psychological needs are not met. You got to get that, okay? So people, as human beings, those human needs must be met in order for people to cause themselves into action. So one of the homeworks this week, okay, is I want you guys to take a list, take a piece of paper and split it down the middle. I want you to make a list of all the logical, all the changes you want to see in your life, okay? So whatever let's just say as an example, being fit, or getting to the next level, or being a better mother, being a better father, whatever the case may be. Write down a list of all the things you want to start changing within yourself. Then on the right hand side, I want you to start making a list of the psychological impacts that will have. So, for example, something as sorry, I keep using the body image just because it's something tangible that everybody can understand, but that doesn't mean it has to be tangible, okay? But let's just put on there be fit, and then you get specific. I'm reading this book right now called Ask for it and you shall have it, something like that. I got it from Raquel Cortez in Mexico, and this morning I was reading it, and one of the things that it was saying is something I sometimes forget, right? That when you ask for something, I'm totally going off tangent, but I promise I'm going to bring it back. When you ask for something and it's general, like I want to get fit, okay? The universe is nothing but a vibration. So like your thoughts are vibrations. So you say, I want to get fit. That vibration is so weak, it's not even funny. Like it won't even go out to the universe to bring you what you need in order to have it, okay? But if you get specific about what that means, what that looks like, and as you get, the more specific that you get, the more intense the vibration will get. So why I'm saying this is because when you make this list of the things that you want, please be as specific. You know what? I'm actually going to do this myself. Be specific as you can, okay? Be as specific as you possibly can, and don't be like, oh, that's too much. But the moment that thought, and I want you to notice what mental verbiage you have going on when you're making that list, okay? Notice yourself. I cannot stress that enough. I hope you guys are starting to become more self-aware, okay? So start making that list, and then on the right-hand side, write down, like, for example, let's just say, get down to 10% body fat, be super ripped and vibrantly energetic, and whatever the case may be, right? Then on the right-hand side of that description, so I don't want it to be necessarily a list, but try to be a description of what the things that you want. Give me the psychological impact that will have on you. How will that make you feel? What would you say about yourself? How will you act with yourself? Like all that stuff. And actually, you know what, you guys, this might be a great exercise for you to do with your clients and you to do with your team members. So it might be a great way for you to cause somebody to be in action. Okay, make a list of what you want, and then what psychological impacts will you have when you accomplish it. So that's one of the homeworks, okay? So just to conclude here, the resistance to change affects everyone, okay? Everybody. It attempts, and I'm gonna read this little phrase here. It says, it attempts to stop all forward movement into progress. And the more that you know, the more intelligent that you are, the smarter that you are, many times it is harder to confront, okay? And yesterday, another audio I heard yesterday was the monk who sold his Ferrari. And one of the examples I thought was fantastic. And it was, that it's like somebody who has all this knowledge and who thinks they know everything, right? Or pretends to know everything, or is a little resistance to change. It's like the monk got a glass. And this is another exercise you can do with your clients and your distributors. It's like, here's what I would like for you to think about. And you get a cup and you fill it up all the way to the top with water, right? And you tell them, like, look, most human beings is how we are. Like, we think we already have things set in stone. We already know certain things. So, like, the water's all the way to the top. Nothing new can enter this cup. Unless what happens? Well, we pour things out. Exactly. So if you pour half of the cup out, now you've got room for new ideas and new thoughts to come in and to enter. And consider that many times, perhaps, what happens is nothing is changing because our cup is all the way full, that we've got to take some out for new ideas and new things to come in. So, I love that. And I was like, God, that's so true, and I know sometimes I'm one of those people, like, well, I already know this, I got this. Well, just consider that new ideas cannot enter when we have that attitude, okay? So don't let your attitude to change or your preposition to avoid it create detriment and hindrances to your own personal success as a leader. I love that. I'm going to read it again. Don't let your attitude to change or preposition to avoid it create detrimental hindrances to your own personal success as a leader. And, with that, I'm going to say, this 6 weeks today has been 6 weeks, right? So this 6-week calls have been really awesome. You guys have really, I've been having to do my homework to do these calls. And so one of the things I'm going to recommend each and every one of you is whenever you listen to these calls and I hope you're taking notes. If not, play back the call and take notes. Definitely, start teaching this stuff to somebody. Start sharing it with someone. Don't just give them the replay call. Give them some ideas. You know what I learned on that call the other day? And then share with the client, share with the distributor, share with the friend. And then if they get like, oh, really? Like, you know what? You should listen to it. Give them the replay number, okay? Which the replay number is exactly the same number that you dialed in. The same code, except for the number, instead of it being whatever it ends with, instead of being 1300, it ends with 1399. So same number, except for it's 1399, same code, and it's available 30 minutes after the call ends. So start sharing this, because the more you share, the more it becomes ingrained in you. And one last thing I'm going to share with you guys, and this is because of last night's Spanish call, somebody said something, and it made me remember that some book I read was talking about how you have to be, you have to be at the guard of the gates of your mind. And I've heard Jim Rohn say that many, many times, be at guard at the gate of your mind. And I just thought he meant, like, don't let, like, bad ideas or bad influence in your mind. Okay, well, I get that, right? But here's the thing. I was reading, I forgot what book, but anyhow, it's like when it said, any idea and any belief, all beliefs start with an idea. All beliefs, and beliefs are something that you feel it to be true. So all beliefs start with an idea. And what happens is you have this idea, this thought, and it implants into your mind like a seed. It's insignificant but small. But if you don't pull out that seed in your mind and you let it sit there in your mind, that seed will start to grow and start to flourish. And then the more that things happen in your life, the more like, something happens, especially if that belief gets nurtured. Like, you have this belief about whatever the case may be, and then all of a sudden something happens that strengthens that thought, strengthens that belief. Now that little seed starts to grow into a little, stem, and then with time, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, it's like a tree with tons of roots in your mind. So why it's so important that you're so conscious of every little thought that comes into your mind, and you don't let it, implant into your subconscious, is because it starts to grow. And then that's why, why they say you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Well, that's not necessarily true. But what is true is that if these thoughts, if they've been in their mind for many, many, many years, it's harder to pull out the roots of a tree than it is of a little tiny stem. So here's a little idea of what you can do is, at the moment something like an idea comes into your mind and it's not that it's destructive and it's not positive and you don't want that, I personally just snap my fingers, like, up, delete, right? So do something to cause you to shift from it landing. this lady, this Buddhist lady in Mexico City, told me that what she does is that she does this, and by her like shushing her mind, it doesn't she puts her attention on that, and therefore doesn't let that idea take a hold of her. Okay. So anyhow, with that said, I just want to I'm going to open up the lines really quick here, but we have got about 5 minutes. I want to see any comments, any questions that you guys may have. So hang on. Okay, does anybody have a comment or a question? Or I would love to hear if you guys have any questions about what we said or anything about the call so far, or if you would love to share, like, how has the call been for you? I would love to hear from you. So any comments or questions? My quiet group. Are you guys there?
Karla.
Hello.
I don't have a question, kind of a comment about the whole call series in general. Like, this is Abigail, by the way. Anyways, one thing I've noticed these calls have helped me do is, like, I'm a lot more, like what you were talking about today, being aware of your words. Like, it's helped me a lot, the calls, to be more actively conscious of, like, oh, I'm not doing this, or oh, I am doing this, or why did I say that? And whether it's good or bad, it's really been helping me. So, yeah, I really appreciate these calls.
Awesome. And, thank you for sharing that, because really, you guys, that is really the most important thing, at my USC Academy for 4 days. 90% of the time that we spend, we're on self-awareness exercises. And you might be thinking, what the heck does self-awareness have to do with leadership? Everything. Because if you're going to be an authentic leader, you've got to know who you are, like what you think about, what you're saying to yourself, all of that, So thank you for sharing that, Abigail. Anybody else have a comment or a question? Okay. You guys are so funny. You guys are like my quiet group. But anyhow, so I hope you, yes?
Karla, this is Karen, and yes, I am just a guest today, but this is an awesome way to think, because we do have to be so aware of the needs of those people whose lives we're trying to touch. And if we're not even aware of what's going on within our own, how can we share that?
Exactly. And hey, you guys, this is our sponsor, Karen. It's so awesome to have you on our call. Absolutely. And that's really what it's about. You can't lead somebody if you can't even lead yourself. And what Susan was saying, you got to learn to trust yourself. And when people don't trust others, it's because they really don't trust themselves, So absolutely, it's all about becoming, hold on a second. It's not sustainable to make a connection with people if you're not connected to yourself. It's really challenging, So thank you, Karen. Anybody else have a comment or a question?
Rita?
Yes.
This is Gabby from Sacramento.
Hi, Gabby.
And I totally love the call from today, because you are so right. When you were talking about being able to relate to other people, right, and to be aware where you're coming from. And for myself, I made a couple of changes in the beginning of the year, and one of them was that before I was trying to help my team and trying to teach them how to grow their business and asking myself, why haven't they grown up? Why haven't they done this, right? But I was coming from a point, like you said, I wasn't relating to them because I myself was not in a nutrition club, and all of them were. And it wasn't until I realized where I was coming from that I decided to make a change, decided to get into the club myself and make it work for myself, so that I would be able to be authentic and actually help them, because I was coming from a point and talking to them when I wasn't doing the activity. And by me making that change and realizing that when I was asking them to do something, I was like, no wonder they couldn't do this, because, I wasn't going through what they were going, and I was asking for something that wasn't necessarily possible because of the way they were doing it. But anyway, I don't know if that makes sense, but being aware.
Oh, my God, what a great example. Yes. Awesome example. That's so true, because same thing, right? Like, I didn't open a club until I first opened a bunch of nutritional clubs for my guys, and I never had one. So when Ernesto would call me and say, I don't know what to do, I would tell him what to do, because of what I thought he should do, that I didn't understand what he was going through. So, oh my God, what a great example. Absolutely. And so guess what? Now, and so we became, and that sounds so terrible, but we became like managers where we were telling them what to do, but not from personal experience, so we couldn't lead them. Awesome example. That's so true. Awesome, Gabby. And here's the other thing, and if you guys, I don't have it in front of me, but if you guys look at the Anthony Robbins 6 human needs, okay, and maybe I got to find a way for us to communicate. Maybe we can start like an email, or maybe I'll start you know what? I'm going to start a Facebook page where we can go on there and start like sharing things with each other, because one of the things that Anthony Robbins talks about, and everybody, but he kind of like patented it, is the 6 human needs. And when you can learn those 6 human needs, when you're talking to somebody, if you can see what they're missing, you can make an instant connection. So awesome, Gabby. Thank you for sharing that. So it's at 9:30. Anybody else have any comments or concerns or questions? Okay, hang on. Don't hang up. I'm just gonna end the recording.